Hello, my name's Tyler, and today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on one of my favorite decks, Infernity Randomizer Control. I built this deck for the September 2011 ban list. Many people know it as Tengu Plant. I've always loved Infernity since they came out. I played Infernities in Current for a while. I've got back to Tengu Plants, and the one thing that I really hated about Infernities and Tengu Plant is the fact that Max C kind of ruins their whole life. They want a combo, and then just everything gets thrown out the window when they hand trap you at all. But this deck is a lot more, I would say, able to deal with your opponent's interruptions, and it's able to gain a lot of advantage while being sort of more consistent, but I'll get into that later. So first I'll start with the main deck. So obviously you start off with the 3 randomizer. So if anyone's not familiar with randomizer, it's no cards in hand like all the other Infernities. You draw and reveal a card, and if it's a spell or trap, you take 500, and if it's a monster, it actually burns times 200 based on the level. Now this does make Archfiend miss timing, so you never ever want to draw a monster, but you play like barely any monsters, so you're going to try to minimize that. And as well as the randomizer, obviously we're going to play the 3 copies of Infernity Archfiend, obviously like the best Infernity card by far. You still want to draw this in your draw phase, you still want to special summon this, you still want to gain advantage, except in this version you want to search Barrier a lot more than you search Launcher, and this deck still is able to synchro, but it does it a lot less. These are the 6 main monsters. You always want to see them no matter what, and based on the deck, that's what you want to see. So the other monster I play 2 Necromancer, not 3, because you can't afford to play more monsters in this list, because if you open more than 3 or more actually in your opening hand, you basically, unless your opponent has no gas at all and they can just let you do nothing for a couple turns, it's very bad. And you know, sometimes if you're not comboing, even if you just set Necromancer, you could sit on it for a while. It's you know, it's still obviously good. Shouldn't have to explain too much on that. And then you play the 1 Avenger as your only tuner, because sometimes you want to be able to search it, sometimes you want to be able to make Trish, sometimes you want to be able to, you know, actually combo off in a deck that doesn't need to combo at all. But yeah, it's just nice to have. So that's that. And the last monster I play, the 10th monster, is 1 Armageddon Knight. Now this is actually extremely important because it is a rota target, and it's able to dump Archfiend, it's able to dump Avenger. The fact that it's searchable and it's able to dump things and sets up Necromancer, stuff like that, gets monsters out of your deck that you don't need. Very versatile, makes Rota a really good card. The maximum amount of monsters you should play in this deck is 10. That's what I play. I used to play 9 monsters. I used to play 1 Necromancer, and I used to play Call of the Haunted, but I cut Call of the Haunted because the problem with it, even though it sounds really good, is it doesn't go away when you use it. If you use Call of the Haunted, bring back Archfiend Search, you usually don't have anywhere to set your barrier that you just searched. So, and the fact that in this deck that spell and traps can be dead is very detrimental, and I'll get to that in a little bit once I get to the traps. So moving on to spells, we got, like, you know, consistency card, Pot of Duality. I don't run Upstart. I think Upstart is pretty bad in this deck because when you're trying to beat your opponent down, your randomizers only have 900 attack. It makes Archfiend miss timing. You really don't want to give them an extra turn to live when you're trying to actually win the game, even when you're in a winning position. And yeah, I'd rather more live cards. But anyway, 3 Duality, obviously, just really good. I actually play 3 Offerings to the Doomed. Now, for those of you who have no idea what this is a lost art that you probably know the original art. Basically, it's a really old card. It's a quick play that says destroy face-up card on the field, and it skips your draw phase. Now, why am I playing this card? Well, first of all, it's a spell card, so if those frog players are siding in Jinzo against you, this is like your saving grace. But more importantly, you need more ways to quick play to get rid of things on your opponent's turn. Also, if you draw this, you can activate it immediately, so you have more room to activate Randomizer and have more room to set more traps that you draw off Randomizer. And Randomizer kind of makes your draw phase irrelevant, because especially if you have 2 or even 3 Randomizer out, you just keep drawing, and your draw phase doesn't really matter, and you need to win the grind game, so that's why you do that. I play a few more one-ofs. I play Rhoda, as mentioned before. Randomizer is a warrior for no reason. I play Foolish, one of the best cards in the deck. Just to be able to dump Archfiend, the best opening hand you can probably get is, well, I don't want to say best, but Necromancer plus Foolish in the opening hand with a bunch of traps is super strong. Shouldn't need to explain too much there. Reborn, obviously, like one of the best cards, and Launcher, which might be the best card. Even still, you still want to summon Archfiend, search Barrier. That's how you're going to win your games. And that's that. So that's 10 spells. So moving on to the traps, we're going to go on with one of the best is Triple Deep Prison. I would play 4. I would play 5 Deep Prison if I could. In this deck in particular, this card is absolutely ridiculous. You need to be able to stop threats that have already made it onto the field. Obviously, banishing stuff is good. You don't want to destroy stuff in this format, honestly. I don't main deck Mirror Force, for those of you who are waiting for it or think I should be playing it. I do side deck it, and I won't include a side deck in this video. Kind of the side deck changes every day, so I don't feel like I'd feel good about having a strict side deck in a video. But yeah, I much prefer banishing things. Oops, sorry about the camera a little bit there. Alright, and the next trap I play, which is very good, is Triple Compulse. Now, there is one problem with this deck, and that's when your opponent decides to just do nothing, maybe set a monster in their turn. When you draw a new card, especially if you have barriers set, you want to empty your hand, and sometimes with the low monster count, you can't set the new spell or trap you just drew. So Compulse not only deals with extra deck monsters, but it also, you can just use it whenever you want. You can get rid of it, because Randomizer says, hey, let's draw a card every single turn, and as long as I have things to set and I have no cards in my hand, that I'm winning the game. So Compulse, even if I'm literally compulsing a token or I'm compulsing a set monster, I don't care. It gives me tempo, it gives me damage, it gives me more chances to draw with Randomizer. You really need your cards to be active at all times while playing this deck. You can't have cards that are just sitting in your back row doing absolutely nothing. You need to use them immediately, and then you need to draw more. Then you got to keep using your gas and win the game. So yeah, really good. And then obviously you play like the best card, Barrier. This is the reason why this deck is good. And I play one Break kind of as the last card to search. I've seen people play like 3 Break, but this card is honestly awful, especially if you open it and you don't have any barriers. It's just a dead card. It is really nice to draw. Like if you're having Necromancer out and you have Archfiend out, and you obviously have in the grind game. But honestly, I think this ratio is pretty universally accepted. And then I play 2 Reinforced Truth. I don't play 3 because, like I said again, I don't want dead cards. I really don't want to draw late game dead cards. But obviously, going first, you know, 1 or more of these cards is going to be absolutely fantastic. It gets out Randomizer. That's just more consistency. Then you play double Bottomless, double Warning, just super standard stuff. I mean, more summon stops. I don't need to explain that at all. Just some of the best trap cards. And for some heavy Storm hate, because you need to not lose to heavy, I play 1 Dark Bribe, I play 1 Starlight Road, I play 1 Solemn Judgment. So these 3 things here are to stop heavy Storm, and obviously Judgment can stop more than that. It's probably like easily the best one out of here. Now, I would, if I could, play 2, because even then, I mean, Starlight is obviously good. If you activate Starlight, you basically win the game. I've never lost a game where I've used Starlight. But it's a card that just sits there. And if you ever have two Starlights and they're not using heavy, or heavy's already gone, they've milled heavy for whatever reason, it's really bad to just have two dead cards in your back row, like I've said before. You need to have all of your back row live. And Dark Bribe helps out with that. You can just use Dark Bribe whenever they do something you don't like. Just Dark Bribe it. It's fine. I've made a Trish play where you... well, you're going for Trish, and then they try to warning it. You just Dark Bribe, and then you win the game. I mean, if you make Trish, obviously you win the game. It could be used kind of as a 7 tool sometimes. And, yeah, I think this is the perfect ratio of heavy hate. And the last card in the main deck is the Drab Dust Shoot. You need to play it. Just obviously really, really broken. Yep, that's it. That's 40 cards. In the side deck, I would say probably main triple MST. You have to for Decree. Main triple Smashing in case... you think Decree is really going to hurt you. Even main, side deck Twister, perhaps. Stuff like that. Maybe Dark Hole, Mirror Force, depending on the matchups. You obviously can't afford to side any hand traps. As the extra deck, I have just an Infernity Doom Dragon in the front here. So you do make some synchros. First up, I play Formula. Really good. You can make it with Avenger and Randomizer. You play Hyper Librarian, you play Catastor, you play this thing. I don't even want to pronounce it, but it lets you attack twice. You know, you can go into it sometimes. Sometimes Infernities can go into it. You go Brio, you really make a 6, but sometimes you want to, and then there's that. I don't even play a 7 because you just like never make it. You never want a Black Rose because your whole hand's on the field anyway. I play like 100 Eyes because sometimes you want to combo with him. I play the 1 Stardust, Scrap. This deck actually makes 9s pretty often, so I play the Mistworm. I play the Trish. Obviously, the Trish is like the one I go into most often. And then I'll put this in the back, the Doom Dragon, which is fun. Sometimes you can go into it. For XYZs, I play Roach. This can go hard against X-Saber sometimes. It can just... yeah, I rarely make it, but sometimes it's very good. I play Utopia, and I play this. Sometimes you have 2 Necromancer. And the last card, I would play the Wind-Up Zen Meister, I believe its name is. It's the other rank 4. I don't have it yet, so I'm kind of proxying it as another Utopia, but it's the rank 4 that basically says detach and then Book of Moon something. But the important thing is... you can you can detach Archfiend and get it to the graveyard, so to reuse it. So, by the way, that's the extra deck there. That's the 15 there. So, for example, if you have, let's say you're going through the deck here, and you have, Archfiend, you have Armageddon Knight on the field here, and you have the Necromancer on the field as well. You want to be, and your opponent just does nothing and doesn't kill it. Well, you can overlay into the wind-up. Let's pretend this is the wind-up. You can detach this, and then you can revive it and search again. So it's a little thing that people might not think about. Maybe this is obvious to some of you, but it wasn't obvious to me when I was looking up the things put in the extra deck. So, yeah, the Trish play, it's really awesome. You play 4 level 4s. That's the 3 Archfiend and the 1 Armageddon Knight. So getting back Avenger and doing the Trish is something that actually comes up a lot more often than you think. Launcher's still crazy. The combos are very good. So a few things for people trying out this deck. There's a few things that you should keep in mind, and that's when and when not to use Randomizer. So if you're going first and you open Randomizer plus 5 back row, depending on what those back row are, yes, you have to decide whether you want to draw or not. There's a lot of times where not drawing is the right move. Sometimes if you draw a Starlight Road, I would say specifically, you might want to just get a little greedy draw, especially if most of your back row you drew is live. But the one thing you want to avoid in this deck is using Randomizer when your normal summon is gone. And especially if you have Infernity Barrier of any kind, do not put yourself in a position where you draw a card and you're not able to get rid of that card in your hand, because Sometimes, if as soon as your hand is empty, you might want to draw immediately because that's free +1, but it's going to mess up your entire hand, and you feel stupid, especially when you draw Infernity Archfiend and it misses timing because this card, I don't know, didn't want to have fun and made the effects happen in sequence for some reason. The burn damage makes it miss timing. But anyway, yeah, be careful about that. Yeah, sometimes if you're down, you have to risk it, and you just got to hope you don't draw that monster, but you feel a lot better as soon as you have your normal summon and you're able to draw with that randomizer. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer, and hope everyone has a good time trying out this deck, and let me know how it does for you. Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye-bye.